Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this last webinar of our LinguaTech Europe Academy. Part of the LiTE Academy, Teacher Academy, funded by the European Commission, and we have been working with different topics in these 7 webinars that we started at the very end of April. It's now almost July, so thank you for continuing here. That is not maybe the easiest moment of the academic year. So if you can go to the next slide, please. Well, if you have been following the previous sessions, maybe you can move it forward so that the different icons appear. Okay, thank you. So, well, as I was saying, this is part of the LiTE Academy, Teacher Academy that aims to enhance language education in Europe, considering 3 key axes: digital tools, inclusive practices, and multilingual pedagogies, what we have called DEAMS. And in this Teacher Academy, we are 8 partner institutions from 5 countries, and it is led by the University in Turkey. And also, we also have other institutions from Turkey, from Portugal, from Germany, and Spain. Okay, and it is very important to highlight the connection and the collaborative work among all these institutions. And by the way, if we go to the next slide, we can see that the presentation for today's webinar that is focused on tasks, okay, and the title is Designing Language Learning Tasks for Digital, Inclusive, and Multilingual Education, will be presented by 2 colleagues from the University of Aveiro, Carla and Liudmila Shafirova, and also by Tuncer from Istanbul Universitesi-Cerrahpaşa. I'm trying to improve my Turkish. That you also met in a previous webinar some weeks ago. So thank you very much for joining today, and uh, as usual, we will give you the possibility of chatting in some specific parts of the webinar. But in the meantime, you can use the Q&A box, okay, in case that you have any doubt or problem, okay, or any issue related to the webinar. We will solve it. And to take more time from our very nice presenters today, I will give them the floor. So thank you very much, and the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I will start the presentation with explaining a little bit how we organized this webinar. So I will start with multilingual education and multilingual tasks. Then Carla will talk about inclusive education and inclusive tasks. And then Tuncer will talk about digital education and digital tasks. We organize it like this because we think that in digital education, you kind of can see both multilingual and inclusive practices, and it will be kind of more holistic this way. And I will start with multilingual. So today we will talk about this idea of multilingual education going from theory to practice. And we talk a lot about theory, but sometimes it is not so easy to put it into practice, as this citation goes. Good intentions and awareness are not enough to bring about the changes needed in educational programs and procedures to prevent academic inequities among diverse students. So what can help us to put these ideas of these theoretical frameworks into practice? First, idea is pretty simple, is the connection with our students. So the tasks, the multilingual tasks that we create have to be connected to the students' cultural background, to their lived experiences and linguistic realities. Also, we also have to have some professional knowledge and some professional awareness, right? So these kind of tasks demand professional knowledge, intentional design, and also our willingness as teachers to question the established practices that we already have. The main principles of not only multilingual education, but culturally and linguistically responsive teaching are, we can think about these four, and they are kind of more thoughtfully explained in the units of the LiTE Academy, but I will talk briefly through them. So the first principle is viewing the student's background as assets and not deficits, meaning creating tasks that include different cultural backgrounds of the students and also learning from the students. The other principle is to build bridges between learners' lived experiences and academic content. It means that it is sometimes important to adapt the material for the student needs to include, for instance, their mother tongues in the description of the tasks or so on. Also, it is important to create classrooms, of course, where students feel seen, heard, and valued. And finally, to valorize and engage students' multilingual repertoires, which can go to all of the other principles. So through valorizing and engaging the bilingual repertoires of the students, we can view the backgrounds of the students as assets, build the bridges between learners' lived experiences and academic content, and also create the classrooms where the students feel seen, heard, and valued. To attain these principles, we thought about these three pedagogical strategies. First of all, we will talk about translanguaging, then scaffolding, and then mediation. Translanguaging means mixing languages when speaking or writing. So, for instance, the students can produce artifacts mixing different languages. Then we have scaffolding, which basically means to support the students to achieve a specific goal. For instance, using mother tongues for the students and the instruction materials to help them. And mediation means reformulating or translating different ideas in different languages. And the example is summarizing or reformulating ideas and also translating. So right now, let's talk about practical examples. I kind of thought that it will be interesting to share some of the examples that we have in LiTE units, but also to bring some of the examples real examples that we tried out at the university with the students of middle school or high school, and also through our teachers and practice. So I kind of brought some of the successful practices that they implemented. So the first example is about this connection with the students. So getting to know your students. And the tasks that we can introduce are linguistic biographies, linguistic portraits, or visual multilingual glossaries. Linguistic biographies means to kind of describe how the students interacted with different languages or learned different languages through their lives and what it meant for them. Linguistic portraits, it means kind of to create an image, or for instance, it could be like a person, an image of a person, and to place languages in different parts of the body, to think about the emotions what each language produce in us. And visual multilingual glossaries, it is a nice also opportunity to share with the school the languages of the students and kind of to put them on a wall and create this glossary of all the mother tongues of the students or all the languages that they speak. And as an example, you can see this example of the task which was created by the master's students of our university, Carolina Aguas Cardoso and Joana Rafaela Pereira Novo, which kind of developed a little bit more this idea of linguistic and cultural biographies, and they created this task, Mala de Ponti, which means a suitcase of Ponti. So they worked with primary students of 9-10-year-old, and these primary students had to fill in the suitcases and to reflect on the languages they understand or speak, the countries they visited, the hobbies they had, and and the hobbies they had. This kind of task helps the students to begin their school practice and to get to know the students. At the same time, to value their critical and linguistic backgrounds and to value also their aspirations to learn new languages or travel to new cultures. So let's go to another example. So this example is about plurilingual repertoires and mediation. So this part is a little bit more also technological. It is about subtitling or dubbing in different languages. This kind of task can make students to include their repertoires and to engage on the process of translation. Basically, they can watch a tiny part of a movie or a TV show, use the script and translate it to different languages. It creates an opportunity for mediation between different languages and cultural backgrounds, comparison of different language systems and cultural backgrounds due to, for instance, localization during the translation. We tried out something more engaging, I think, for the students. It was dubbing. So the students did not only translated the scripts and put it the subtitles. What they did, they voice acted the scripts in different languages. We tried this plurilingual dubbing with several groups of students of different ages. You can see 11, 12 years old and 15, 16, so middle school and high school, and it worked equally well. We tried it with this show Inside Out 2 with the trailer, and they only translated and dubbed 1 minute of the trailer and acted it out in different languages. It was a very fun activity. It kind of included a playful integration of the students' plurilingual repertoires, as many students decided to use their mother tongues during the task. Including Spanish, Polish, or varieties of Portuguese, such as Brazilian Portuguese. Some students also used the languages they didn't know so well yet. So they were searching for correct pronunciation of the language, translating and trying it out in a playful way. In the end, also, all of the students worked with English, as they were listening to the trailer repeatedly and translating it to several languages. So it was kind of part of the English subject, can be part of the English subject, but other languages can be also used. So in this case, the interesting part was about mediation and the using of different plurilingual repertoires in kind of a playful and engaging way. The next task was also introduced by our students from the faculty. They were bachelor students, Diana Amorim, Hugo Miranda, Jessica Moraes, Leah Crespo, and Maria Domingos. So during their first teacher practice at the school, they decided to create this idea of multilingual and digital task. What they did was digital multilingual storytelling. It is also a very interesting and creative task because they asked the primary students of, I think, 8, 9 years old to create stories of traveling to different countries. And the students had to kind of work together to create this storytelling, to think about the script, also to search the information about these countries, the languages spoken, the main festivities, and so on. Of course, the bachelor students helped the children to kind of create the animations. So in the end, they created the animations in Canva. They were very, very simple, but the students enjoyed it a lot, and they could also include some of the languages and some of the countries that they want to visit, as for instance, Japan, or some of the countries that come from their cultural background, such as Canada. There was a girl from Canada, or some of the countries that their relatives, for instance, lived in, like France. Apart from digital multilingual storytelling, these students included another task to create a suitcase, a physical suitcase to travel. So the students, school students, made these physical suitcases where they wrote simple glossaries of some words of official languages of the country. So they created some art here, they used the currency. And I think it is also nice that primary students did not only did the digital task, but also had to work with their hands to create something, to write by hand, and to kind of engage in these creating activities with their hands on it. This kind of activity is also focused on the inclusion of the students' repertoires, students' cultural backgrounds, but it also develops the students' curiosity to other cultures and countries, and the sensitivity to other languages they desire to learn, and the sensitivity to other cultural contexts. So I think it is also a nice kind of example. And I will be finishing already with a final message. I want to say that creating multilingual tasks doesn't have to be about adding diversity superficially. So as we talked earlier, it is about getting to know the students, their cultural backgrounds, their linguistic backgrounds, their plurilingual repertoires, to validate and view as assets their plurilingual repertoires and cultural contexts. And also, I think it is very important to create a sense of curiosity and sensitivity of all the students to other cultures, languages, and otherness as a whole. I will stop here and transfer my word to Carla. I will stop sharing the presentation now.
Hello. Today I would like to share some ideas from this module about inclusive education. The main message is simple. Inclusion is not about doing more work. It is about teaching differently so that students can participate, learn, and feel that they belong. When we hear the word inclusion, we often think only about supporting students with disabilities. However, inclusion is much broader than that. Our classrooms included students with different language, cultural experience, motivations, and abilities. Therefore, the question is not, how can we adapt when a student has difficulties? Instead, we should ask, how can we design learning from the beginning so that everyone has a fair opportunity to succeed? I'm sorry. Okay. This idea leads us to Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. I believe this is an important concept because it is may be new to many of us. UDL is a framework that helps teachers design learning experience that work for many different students. Instead of making adaptations only after problems appear, UDL encourages us to anticipate learner variability and plan for diversity from the start. UDL is based on three main principles. The first principle is multiple means of engagement, which means recognizing that students are motivated in different ways. Some students enjoy working in groups, while others prefer to work independently. Some students need guidance, while others benefit from having choice and autonomy. By offering different ways to engage with learning, teachers can encourage participation and motivation. The second principle is a multiple means of representation. Students do not all understanding information in the same way. Some students learn better by way of writing texts, others by way of visual material, diagrams, videos, or demonstration. Presenting information in different formats help more students access and understand what is being taught. The third principle is a multi-means of action and expression. Students should have different opportunities to demonstrate what they know. Not every student express their understanding efficiently by way of the same method. So providing alternatives allows students to show their learning in ways that suit their strong points while maintaining the same learning goals. I would like now to share three practical examples that illustrate these ideas. Okay. The first example is Lina, a 16-year-old Ukrainian. Lina has difficulties with formal writing in the language used at school. At first, teachers may focus only on these difficulties. However, Lina also important strong points. She speaks more than one language, translates for her younger siblings, and navigates different cultural contexts every day. This example reminds us that students are much more than their difficulties. Too often we focus on what students can know, instead of recognizing what they can already do. Inclusive education encourages teachers to adopt a strangers-based perspective. Rather than asking, what problems does this student have? We can ask, what strong points, experience, and abilities does this student bring into the classroom? This change in perspective can transform the way we teach and support her students. The second example relates directly to universal design for learning and assessment practices. In many education contexts, students are expected to demonstrate her understanding by way of a single format, such as writing an essay. However, writing may not be the best way for every student to show that they know. So using UDL principle, teachers can offer a different way for students to demonstrate their understanding. For example, students could choose to write an essay, record a podcast, create a storyboard, or develop a graphic organizer. The learning objective remains exactly the same. What changed in the method students use to express their knowledge? This approach does not lower academic standards. Instead, it increases access and fairness. We are assessing students' understanding of the content rather than their ability to use on specific formats. In this way, UDL helps us move from equality, where everyone does exactly the same thing, towards equity, where students have fair opportunities to succeed. The third example focus on technology and inclusion. Digital tools and AI are becoming increasingly present in education. These tools have great potential to support learning, but they can so also reproduce biases and create new barriers. Technology can promote inclusion when used thoughtfully. A teacher can use platform as a Padlet and invite students to participate using their home language. Students can contribute by way of writing text, audio, recordings, image, or videos. Many teachers say I treat all students the same. But this statement reflects good intentions. Equal treatment does not always mean fair treatment. Students have different needs, experience, and strong points. Sometimes fairness means providing different pathways so that everyone can work towards the same learning goals. The good news is that inclusion is not require teachers to change everything overnight. Small actions can make a big difference. Teacher can ask students for anonymous feedback about barriers and to participation. This model invites us to rethink our teaching practice. Inclusion is not an additional tax or responsibility. It is a way for designing learning that recognizes diversity as a normal characteristic of every classroom. Universal design for learning helps us move from reacting to difficulties towards planning for learner variability from the very beginning. When we design learning environments with flexibility, more students can participate, learn, and succeed. Ultimately, inclusion is not about changing students so that they fit our teaching. It is about changing your teaching so that students can flourish. I'm finished.
Thank you, Carla. And let me, everybody, continue with my part here, which is the digital tasks. All right. So I will also continue from where Carla left because she already mentioned that the use of technologies is also an inclusive practice. And this is what I'm going to also stress in my talk. What we are doing here with you through these webinars, we are actually trying to give you a glimpse of what the training of LiTE Academy is basically about. And then we are not, of course, here to give you all the details that we have prepared through the modules here, but we would like you to get the glimpse. And of course, we expect you to get a little bit moved by this and take the whole training and see how deep basically the preparation we have had through this project is. And then let me very quickly talk about the conceptual integration of how we can use technologies to basically support multilingual and inclusive classrooms. This was what we have had in the digital module. Basically, we were talking about building critical digital literacy because this is one of the things for teachers that gives us the strength of today as teachers, so that we can go ahead our students. We all know that most of the teachers might not have had digital literacy education in their trainings. Myself, for example, being an English teacher, I have had the training as an English teacher, but very little about technologies. However, in today's world, this is one of the things that we are. I'm a very experienced teacher, 25 years of experience, but do not have any digital literacy if I didn't study myself or continue to learn about these new technologies coming out every day. And then, of course, since we didn't have a training on digital literacies, people like myself, designing and implementing digital resources in the classrooms was also one of the things we were lacking. However, these are inevitable today, and we can only implement all of these digital resources in today's classroom to catch up with the students, and of course to catch up with the classroom reality, and of course the reality of the environment. So the unit 3 of our digital unit module basically is looking into designing multilingual and inclusive digital learning and how this is possible. So we would invite you all to take up this training, this module from our project, from our preparation, and then to learn more about how you can basically achieve this by using the digital learning with your students. And then the final unit was about the digital assessment. Of course, digitalization is, like we said, inevitable. Digitalization is there, and then we have to be aware of how we can start using this for our classroom. So what I'm trying to do here is to give you just a glimpse of what we have had in this module. Let me just give you the 2 pictures here. Picture number 1 is from an Indian school today. This could be anywhere, by the way. And I'm also answering the question of Liudmila, who previously, while we were preparing the content, was asking about the gist of those pictures here. So today we have both of these realities within the world. Number 1 reality is where the teacher's room filled with paper, filled with books and everything else, and the teachers, they have to be face to face to prepare their own curriculums, perhaps to prepare implementation plans, and then to prepare their materials all in the same classroom without using any digital tool. However, if you look into the picture number 2, where you see that some teachers are working on the same platforms, sharing and collaborating on platforms, digital platforms, to basically achieve inclusion or multilingualism or all other aspects of teaching of today. And also, some teachers are not only within the teacher's room, but they are hooked up into this environment, as you see at the background, through the video conferencing tools like what we have right now with you, the Zoom, for example. And then this is also a very relevant school classroom of today. So as you see, what we are trying to tell you here with those pictures, or with these 2 visuals, is basically which reality are you practicing today? Are you still in the very old traditional way of doing your job, or you have moved all your practice with this new realities, and have you enriched yourself with those new realities and new digital spheres like we're trying to put forward? And this is because this is where the students are. This is where the life around your students is. So basically, we cannot ignore it, and we have to take it and embrace it within our teachers' rooms, and then start basically practicing all we have at hand to basically achieve what we are trying to achieve with our students. And let me just very briefly give you a couple of tasks that you can implement to achieve multilingual and inclusive digital learning with your students. One of which is, and this is one of the first examples that you'll be learning in our training modules, is the process-based writing with AI and peer feedback, perhaps, if you really want to. The second example that I'm going to give you, and the second task that I'm going to give you today, is going to be the AI-supported personalized practice, which is the level up dialogue, not only about writing, but also about speaking, or perhaps other like aspects of language learning, like pragmatics or other things, of course, enhanced by artificial intelligence. Today, this is where we are. And then, of course, we are not only moving towards artificial intelligence, but also, like Carla suggested, translanguaging, Liudmila suggested, like translanguaging tasks like multilingual mind maps, where we let our students use their linguistic repertoires and not only creating the mind maps only in one language, but in all languages that are available to them. And of course, they have a deeper understanding of what they are learning within the classroom. And the last example I'm going to give you today is going to be the collaborative digital project, like a global classroom podcast, where students are collaborating to create a global classroom podcast together, and then share it with their friends, their peers, and then get feedback as well. So let me just very, very quickly introduce you with the idea, and I'll tell you during the modules, while you're learning from our modules, you're going to see more examples like those. This is just a glimpse of what we have prepared for you. So as you see here, the objectives with the process-based writing with AI, we are focusing on learning process, but not just the product, because most of the time the students, when you ask them to write something, give the instructions, and they're like stuck, becoming or getting the writer's block. And this is because they are not getting enough support during the writing process. And this is because of the classrooms that we have, the crowded classrooms and the numbers of students within. And for example, in Turkey, with 40 students in your class, it's very difficult to practice process-based writing. However, with the AI and the AI-supported platforms, we can basically lean on those as well. So we have drafts where the students are trying to write, and then the AI will give them a feedback on their grammar. It's going to give them feedback on the content. It's going to give them content and suggestions for improvements of their drafts. And then in the end, they can get also peer review from their friends or even the teacher on the content and ideas. So this is just one of the things that will bring inclusion to your classroom, where the students are left alone during the process-based process writing, because they will receive the feedback when the teacher has time. With so many students, sometimes it takes a week, even two. However, AI can do it instantly on the spot, and then can give suggestions on this as well. So this is one of the activities that you can do with your students using a platform where your students can basically practice this, and there are available platforms for this as well. The second example that I already mentioned was, as you will remember, AI-supported personalized practice, where the objective of this kind of a study and activity in your classroom, a task in your classroom, is to adapt to different proficiency levels in your class. And sometimes you might have different levels in your class where you would like to level up the dialogue. And then you can again use ChatGPT, for example, or some other chat bots to help your students have a conversation on their own level, A2, B1, or C1, whatever their level is. Of course, you can also have role plays. I mean, differentiation is always one of the options, of course, and extensions, but this is not the topic today. The topic today is that you have different opportunities by using AI-supported personalized practice, and then you can have more options than the single options that you would have in your classes. The next example and task that I'm going to suggest, and of course you will have much more of those during our trainings, if you're signing up for them as well, are going to be the translanguaging tasks like Liudmila also suggested, where the students' full linguistic repertoire will be valued. Since you allow for multilingual mind maps, for example. This is just another example. Let's suppose the topic is in B1 level, and then you have the education systems as a topic where you're studying in B1 level. And then you ask your students to brainstorm about this topic before you do any activities or any reading or writing or whatsoever in their L1 plus in their target language. So as you see, this will enrich and of course your students' possibility of attending into those activities, as well as it's going to be more inclusive as well, since the languages, the different languages are also welcome in your classroom, like also Liudmila suggested. Of course, there could be variations, but like I said, this is not the topic of today. The topic of today is just to see that you have options, you have different activities to achieve, like we said, more multilingual and inclusive practices by using digital tools like Miro, for example, you can use to create multilingual mind maps where your students can collaborate, or they can use Padlet, for example, or they can use, zillions of other applications. Canva, for example, one of others, can also be used here. Of course, I'm not giving you all the details because, like I said, this is basically just for you to see the depth of what we have prepared for you. And of course, during the training, 14-15 hours of training on our platform, LiTE Academy platform, you will have the chance to go deeper into those and then see more examples like those, like Liudmila and Carla already suggested. And the last one that I'm going to present today is, for example, creation of a global classroom podcast, where the students can collaboratively work on digital projects, right? Where they can build communication, and of course they can build their digital literacy example. So they can use a Padlet, they can use Canva, they can use any other podcast creating tool to sit down and create a language and then to create their podcast where they can work in groups and this and that, and of course they can create a visual support and this and that. So as you see, this is going to be a very solid example of how you can integrate multilingual, inclusive and digital practices within your classroom. So this is basically what I would wanted to talk about. And now we are moving towards our feedback and question and answer section. Now I would like to invite Liudmila for the first activity here that she's going to do with us. And of course, we will also be talking about this. And on the second reflection question, it's going to be myself helping out with and then giving meaning to all of this. Yes, Liudmila, it's now your turn, please.
Okay, so I will start with this reflection, and we want to kind of hear your feedback on this reflection. Looking at your current classroom toolkit, which digital features or platforms could you repurpose tomorrow to give your multilingual learners a safe sandbox to express themselves without the fear of making mistakes? So here we can see that in this reflection, we kind of put together the digital part and the multilingual part, and also the inclusive ideas. And we can give you maybe 2 minutes to reflect on it, and you can write about it in the chat, right? Okay. So we have one response from Marta, maybe a mural. Maybe Marta can explain a little bit more about a mural. Okay, Marta is saying a brainstorm of ideas about a certain subject. I think it is similar to the task that Tuncer talked about. It was multilingual brainstorming, right, Tuncer?
That's right, to create a multilingual mind map, which is
Yes.
something that we are not doing much, but we can allow students to do so on our supervision. So, yeah.
Yeah, or a mural in a sense that you can then kind of place it on a wall and showcase different ideas and bilingual repertoires. It can also be made, of course. Okay, we have another answer of Rabia Damla. I don't know if I'm pronouncing well the
Very well.
name.
Your Turkish is improving, Liudmila. Thank you.
And it is about Padlet, and that students can post unit tasks on Padlets with lots of AI generated content. I think here we have to think about the objective of what content and maybe what languages, and about, like, maybe you can develop this thought a little bit more, like what will be the objective of the Padlet, maybe? Or we have another answer of Marta. Game with the tablets where the students could express ideas and then show to the class. Okay. With that could be an interesting task. And then would they use the tablet also to translate these ideas from different languages, or what would be the main objective of the technology, I would ask. Okay, we have from Mariana Flinga, Canva whiteboard could be used. And another comment from Nasreen. We have a lot of comments. Sorry, I'm reading fast right now because I can see that there are a lot of comments. Okay, Nasreen. In my classroom, I would repurpose AI chatbots such as ChatGPT as low-stakes speaking partners. It's very interesting. It is something that Tuncer also talked about, right? To train the speaking with ChatGPT partners, allowing students to practice English without the fear of being judged, right? Because we know that anxiety and fear for language learners could be very deteriorating, and it is one of the factors, especially for children or adolescents, to not speak the language, to not develop the speaking part.
And Liudmila, we have
Yeah.
two questions, or basically one question and one suggestion on the question and answer platform. May I read? May I read the
Of course.
question and then give an answer to Brandon, who's asking about what are your suggestions for classrooms where tech is forbidden, like cell phones, etc., is forbidden, or where learners, teachers don't want to use AI due to ethical, environmental concerns, like data centers are not, hosted in the countries themselves, but somewhere else. Okay, my answer to this will be, since we are advocating the use of digital technologies and for multilingual and inclusive purposes, I would just suggest Brandon to change the activities from in class to out of class. You know why? Because out of the classroom, all of these concerns are actually gone because everybody is using them. Phones are not, or other digital tools are not forbidden at all. So if the life is so welcoming and inclusive, but our classrooms are so rigid, how can we solve this problem? See, only by changing the pace and when and how we are doing these activities. Perhaps you don't do them in within the classrooms, but outside the classroom where students have more, like I said, freedom to use these tools and everything else. But of course, for ethical and environmental concerns, I think we need to discuss all of these before we basically let these concerns prevent us from using those technologies, because I think it was I forgot the reference now, but someone was telling you can't ignore what happens in life within your classrooms, because in the classroom you have rigid rules and everything else, but outside the classroom, the life embraces all of those. So I think we have to have a balance there. So this would be my suggestion to Brendan to take out his activities outside the classroom, and perhaps, and you know why? Because outside the classroom, students are using technology, the world, and they are using internet. The world average is 6 hours 38 minutes. This is the research from educational research. 6 hours 38 minutes. It's huge. So what do these students do while they're using so much time with technology? What are they doing if we are not giving them enough direction? They're just lurking and using all of that time for nothing, including my son, including my daughter, because they are also lurking, as I'm seeing. However, when I direct them to do stuff like my son, hey, if you're watching a movie in German because he wants to learn German, if you're watching a movie in German, you can continue using your iPad. But if you're not watching German, stop it and just go and do something else. You know, as a father, I'm just preventing him from doing this. And he's like, Dad, I'm watching German, which is perfectly fine. So you see, if you can direct this into a valuable experience, then I think it is not a waste of time, this 6 hours, 38 minutes. For Turkey, the number is 7 hours, 13 minutes. And for all the countries, the research is there. You can follow that. So we have to be, I think, directing our students outside the classroom, but not within the classroom for many concerns. Okay, so this is just a idea, Liudmila.
Yeah, I maybe I can add a little bit to that, because I know this trend in Europe of
Please.
this not having an access to the cell phones in the classroom. So this rejection of the cell phones, but I don't think that it includes the laptops, or normally there are classrooms with computers. So I think we are sometimes maybe too much focused on only the cell phones. So another idea would be to use like the laptops of computer if the school has these technologies, because sometimes why we use cell phones on language classes, because in the school there is no other kind of technological resources. So it is a tricky question, but I think Tuncer's idea is also valuable. But we have a lot of also comments in the chat. Maybe I can read just one or two, and we
Please,
can go to
yeah.
another
We can move, yeah. Thank
reflection.
you.
So we have another comment of Brendan. He's saying that I've been thinking about this a lot. In English, there is always another solution. So what about making tasks that allow learners to recognize and internalize that? So turning a learning unit into a set of challenges that learners may choose and address in their own unique way. Some may not be in the right mindset for huge projects, so there may be variations, possibilities for differentiation of scaffolding, ways for them to mediate and choose what's best for them at this moment. I think it's an interesting idea, but it also can be tricky with very big classrooms. So it will be, in any case, I think some collaborative projects or challenges for you to manage different needs of every group. I don't know if Tuncer or Carla want to add on this, or we can go to another
Yeah, we
moment.
can go to another, yeah.
So we have in my English class, I could use tools like Flipgrid or even a class chat to give my students a safe space to practice their English without worrying about making mistakes. I already use some of this in my lessons, so it would be a big change, just a shift in how I frame it for them. When I tell my students that this is a space where mistakes are totally okay and part of learning, they feel much more comfortable trying, speaking up, and expressing themselves in English. I think it's a nice idea. We already have, we are seeing a trend in the comments of this idea that technology can kind of reduce the anxiety of the training and speaking with some mistakes, and this idea that the mistakes can be made, of course. So we have other
Okay,
comments,
Liudmila,
but
would
I'm
you
sorry, we
like me
have
to
to.
move? Yeah, to move
Yes.
forward, yeah, because I've been here quite a lot and it's never ending because we really have very good participating teachers from all over Europe, and then it's a really great platform. So let me just very quickly read my the second reflection, and perhaps our teachers can have more feedback on this, which is the question is, since this is the time of Web 4.0 technologies, which AI is basically driving, how might AI and then translanguaging, as well as universal design for learning, the UDL, and collaborative digital projects, we also gave examples here. And these collaborative digital projects, how can they reshape the role of language teachers? Because previously the teachers were just teaching traditionally, giving information, this and that. And what opportunities or challenges do we foresee in implementing these approaches of the new language teacher activities and the opportunities and challenges? So this is the second. So we might have like a couple of minutes for reflection, and then you can write your answers, and we will try to read them with you, everybody. We are aware this is a broader question here. So
I'm also answering some of the questions in the chat that I didn't read.
Great, Liudmila. Thank you. Thank you. I think Hugo is talking about that he believes that AI, translanguaging, UDL, and of course collaborative digital projects are reshaping his role from knowledge giver to facilitator, something he already experienced in his English classes and in the language club that he coordinates. Yeah, I think this is a great idea there, language clubs or extracurricular activities where students have more freedom, like I think Brandon also mentioned about that. The opportunities are huge, especially for the multilingual learners, but challenges are unequal access to technology and the need for teacher training are real. I believe so. I believe so. Still, I see these are reasons to move forward with intention, not to hold us back. Yeah, thank you, Hugo. I think this is a great a reflection here to help out students and also help out teachers basically to use all of these technologies and just to transform what we are doing as language teachers and from information giver to facilitator or perhaps helper and collaborator with those. Yeah. Yeah. And I think our dog also wants to participate, but yeah, I think it'll take me some time, some more time to understand what he wants to tell me. Yeah, Nisrin, I agree with you. We previously talked about this. I remember in my last presentation, webinar, we were talking about if the AI is going to replace teachers. The answer is definite no. We still need the human touch everywhere. So anyway, but yeah, of course, it will help us with the innovation, and it'll help us with basically helping other students to have more opportunities. Like the examples that two examples that I gave. If you allow the AI to give feedback to your students, a timely feedback, this is worth everything. Rather than waiting for the teacher to give feedback very late. So and also helping out the students to talk in their own level. Yeah, this is going to give more opportunities, like you said.
I think we have another comment from Diana, which goes in the same direction as you talked about, that collaborative digital projects transform the role of teachers from absolute only source of language knowledge to kind of this intermediator, as I understand, and a leading companion of the process to getting closer to new language and culture. And also that AI won't substitute teachers and the human factor is essential to ensure empathy. And I agree. I think teachers don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And
And also
and in collaborative projects, I think empathy, it is something that we have to work with our students on.
mm,
And I agree, collaborative digital projects and collaborative projects in general are essential in modern classroom. Yes, Tuncer, sorry.
and also, it's no problem at all. It's also Brandon who talks about the Minecraft, the video games, and the use of video games to collaborate in digital environments. And I think this is a great way and a great example as well. I wish that I thought about this, but we will have more on this in our trainings about how we can use the digital games for inclusion and of course for multilingual and of course collaborative space because this is what these games are all about, and then they help out with language acquisition like nothing. Um, uh, on this level. I have seen my son, for example, chatting in Russian, not knowing any Russian, but then chatting in Russian in some games, some collaborative games that he's playing, and lots of vocabulary he's bringing in to me. And then I'm like, yeah, how do you know that word? And then he's like, we're doing these with my friends, with my buddies. Yeah, and all of these digital games like Minecraft and others are also, like you said, great assets for teachers to implement in the classrooms. Yeah. Okay. I think we can now move towards the question and answer session. Ludmila, what do you think? I think it's
Yeah.
and yeah, we will be very happy to answer your questions, and I think we can allow for a couple of more questions with everyone. And then we will hand over to Christina. No worries, Christina. Don't worry, we are not done yet, okay? Ana Raquel is talking about the digital divide, maybe one of the biggest challenges since the unequal access or unequal literacy is a reality. I think so. It's both, I think it's on two levels, Ana Raquel, on teachers' levels as well and the students' levels. You're very, very right about this because sometimes it's only the digital divide or access to technologies that is preventing the students from doing activities or perhaps the teachers actually because sometimes the teachers are also not ready for these new technologies to come into their classrooms and sometimes and I think it's not only the teachers but digital divide is also within the institutions too. I think so in micro level, meso and macro levels. Sometimes even the ministries of educations are not ready for some stuff. They don't want to invest because they don't have the money. For example, I'm working in a governmental sector, and of course we are also well, so to say, it's not easy for us to invest in many things. What we are doing is we are investing into European Union projects with our own time. And this is how we are trying to get over this digital divide. This is just an idea. Yeah. Okay, I think we're pretty much done here since I'm not seeing any more comments or questions. And Christina, we're over to
There's
you.
a hand up. I think that Ana Raquel
Oh,
has
I didn't see that.
the
I didn't
hand
see that.
up, so
Okay,
maybe we can. I mean, I'm
please.
going to allow her to use her
Yes,
mic.
please. Please.
So let's see. Yeah, now it's done. So let's see if she.
Ana Raquel, please.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes. Eu não consigo ouvir. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, of
yes, we can
course.
hear you.
Well done.
Okay, thank you so much. I was just trying to. You spoke about the digital divide, and I posed a question about the digital divide, and indeed it is related with both teachers and students. And what about assessment? What do you think? Because assessment is one of the biggest questions nowadays when you talk about AI and also when we talk about inclusion and so on. How can we address assessment?
In my view, assessment is one of these areas which is lagging behind, and this is because of the traditional exam types that we have. We don't still have dynamic assessment, and because we don't have dynamic assessment enough, and also formative assessment enough, it is very difficult to start using new technologies in assessment. However, what we have is open-ended questions. What we have is general, as we all know, at least here in Turkey, multiple choice questions. We have these traditional discrete point exams for languages, and then this is preventing the use of new technologies. And I agree with this that there is a digital divide in the assessment as well. It's not only about the teachers, it's not only about the students, but it is a more institutional and even political, basically, I think, divide there. Here in Turkey, more than 2 million people are taking up the university exam. More than 1 million people are taking the high school exam. And what is happening there is it is impossible to use new technologies for assessment in languages because of the numbers. It's not practical. And because there are a lot of problems with the access to new technologies, the use of those for assessment is still not out of questions. However, it is also developing. I'll give you an example from our own school where we are using tasks to evaluate as in the form of formative assessment. And what is happening there is we started using AI alongside the human raters. We are having some results. We are not happy with the most of the results, and this is because number one, most of the AI tools that we are using are not, and like Brandon also mentioned, are not aligned with what we need because these are general tools. We need more agentic AI there, which will help us to basically do what we really want AI to do for assessment. Other than that, this is just a general assessment. Even if you're using rubrics, since we are using the general AI tools like ChatGPTs and Geminis, whatever, we are not able to 100% get the results that we want, like we are getting the results from human raters, because there is still time for them to develop. And then I'm not arguing that they are not developing. Of course they are, but we still need time. So all in all, assessment is lagging behind in the use of new technologies, but it's also promising, I think, because there is a lot of research going into this too. But like I said, I think we are still expecting the agentic AI to take over before this generative AI goes out. And then I think in the second phase, we will have more reliable results from agents that are specifically designed to do the assessments like human raters, or at least who can align with human raters at some point, because right now this is not the case. So this would be my answer.
We also have another question by Brendan in the Q&As, so maybe you can take a look at it.
Okay. So the question is about in the three presentations you gave today, you asked us how we would connect it to our lessons, but how do they relate the presenters and your classes? How big a role do task-based learning, challenge-based learning take in your classes? So I think in my case, I presented some of the activities that we did actually with the students, and they were all or project-based or task-based or challenge-based. So I think it is a way that a lot of classrooms right now are designed, at least at the University of Aveiro, especially when we are talking about pedagogical practice. So it is a big role. So you have seen it, the examples, they were a lot about group work, a lot about some projects, maybe not so much about challenges, but project-based learning. It is something that is in the core of these practices, of these tasks that we presented here today. And in
May
my
I,
classes, we
Liudmila?
use a lot challenge-based learning and project-based learning, because the assessment is also more formative and dynamic, and it is divided in different projects. So it makes sense also with assessment. Yes, Tuncer, please.
What we have been presenting here with examples and everything, they are coming right from my classroom, at least on my part, and I see that Liudmila's too. And how and why? First of all, from very early development of AI, for example, and coming out of all of these new ways of doing assessment and this and that. I'll tell you that we are not, or at least I'm not, because I'm training teachers. I'm training foreign language teachers. I'm not fighting with technology. I learned how to survive with it. And why is this? Because it's very difficult to focus your 20 plus year old teacher or pre-service teachers who are also students in the classroom, it's very difficult to take up these students' focus and then to really make them learn something because they really feel like and they really think that they know everything in this world. So this is the first thing that I've been doing. I'm not fighting the technology. What I'm doing is I'm trying to put as much technology as I can in my classes so that my students can actually create their materials by using AI rather than just be afraid of it. And why is this? Because number one thing, the research these days shows and is working on that if a person who knows uses AI basically to do his job or her job, he's becoming more productive. And number two, he's becoming more productive because the expertise is basically helping out with the hybridization of human plus AI or human plus technology practices within the classrooms. So this hybridization is, I think, what is valuable and for us to understand as teachers and, of course, teacher trainer myself. And this is exactly what I've been trying to do. And this hybridization, by the way, has not started with the AI in my classes. It started with the Web 2.0 technologies at the time by creating blogs, by creating, blog posts and this and that, and afterwards moving towards what we've been doing here, virtual reality, the use of virtual reality to create short movies and this and that and zillions of things. And now we have moved towards artificial intelligence because it's like I said, it's inevitable as well. So this is basically what's happening in our classrooms too, Brandon. It's not something that we are doing theoretically, and that's why we are so relaxed about it because we know that it works. Because I know that I'm concentrating my students on stuff to learn by using these new technologies, and you know what? They're really doing great by not fighting the technology. And this is, of course, one of the things I want to give my students a perspective, lifelong learning perspective, that they can survive. Why is this? Because like I said, when I was a student at the university, learning to become a language teacher myself, I never studied virtual reality. I never studied Web 2.0 tools. I never studied artificial intelligence. But today I'm using all of these just because I have this notion as a teacher, lifelong learning. So I think this is where we are ourselves, or at least myself in this matter. So this is how I'm putting what I'm preaching and what I'm teaching in the classroom. Okay, so this is how I'm putting these things together. Okay, so this is going to be my answer here.
And maybe one last question that we have the Q&A box, okay, because it's more than 20 past. And it's how can AI genuinely amplify student voice and agency in the language classroom rather than simply automating instruction and leaving multilingual learners without real ownership of their learning?
I think Liudmila, please,
Okay.
and after you.
I will just tell about an example of using AI, and one of the examples that I presented, and I think Tuncer can talk about it more holistically as he uses AI a lot in his classes. I think it can be done when your objective of your classroom is exactly amplify student voice and agency. For instance, in the case of dubbing, as I told you about, what we did with different kind of students, the students used AI technology to translate, and they also used it to see if they did it well for the feedback in their mother tongues and the languages that they know, or they used it to see how to pronounce certain phrases in different languages to voice act them, right? So they started to use AI spontaneously, but because the objective of the class was to give the students agency and their voice, they went with this objective and used AI as a tool. I think the intention and the classroom design around this intention is the most important think. And Tuncer, if you want to add, or Carla, you
Yeah,
want to add
sure,
something?
sure. I think student agency is, I need to see the question though. But anyway, the student agency and the AI.
I
So
will
here
paste it
is,
in the chat.
okay,
Sorry.
thank you. Thank you. I'll just see it, no problem.
Yeah, there it is.
Just to
Sorry.
just to keep up with that. Okay, that's fine. So this is the thing to do, basically. The use of AI to create stuff with your students. And then if you can basically do this, if you can achieve this, then you are not teaching AI just to get some ideas. You are not using AI just to get some content from. No, the use of AI with the student expertise to create new products. I'll give you an example. Sit down to create your own language teaching platform by using content from AI, but having and of course designing it in such a way that it goes from A1 to A2, B1, B2, C1 levels. So you see, you need human beings to basically tell you if this content is good enough or not. And then this is how student agency can be basically achieved by using AI as a tool, but also human being as a player within this. As I was talking about hybridization, so this is the hybridization, I guess, which is helping out the teachers to create this student agency rather than just simply getting content from AI and then getting lesson plans from AI and this and that. So I think this is basically what we need to do, helping out our students work with AI to create new products, tangible products, and then you can ensure that you have agents who are basically productive with AI, and then this is how you can amplify the learning within that, and then you will see that your students are learning more than that. Okay, I think this is okay for now, and this is what I'm doing basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. I think that it's almost half past, so I think that we should
Okay.
start wrapping up the session. Thank you very much for all your comments and questions, because this is what gives lots of food for thought. Well, if you can see here in the slides, this is the last of 7 webinars. If you can go to the next slide. We started at the very end of April with a general, presentation of the LiTE Academy. Then we were working on the different components of LiTE Academy, and then we had specific sessions on assessment and also on tasks, as we had today. All the recordings from the previous webinars are already on our YouTube account, on our YouTube channel. So you can access there if you missed something, or if you want to watch them again. Okay, and today's webinar will be also uploaded along this week, more or less. Okay, so we try to have them all as quick as possible on the YouTube channel, so you can check it. Please remember that regarding the more, let's say, continuous training, you can sign up in the website of the project, where you will find all the information about the platform that Tunjer was mentioning before, and that we also mentioned in the previous webinars. We would be more than happy that you join us there, so we can continue this this collaboration, both in the online training and potentially in the on-site training that we will have in Spain in some months. And finally, as you know, that it's a European project and we need to have records of everything and also quality assessment, and so I would be I will paste the link to the survey on the chat we really appreciate your answers. So it's only 3 questions, something very simple and easy, but we really appreciate that you give us your feedback. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us in these 7 webinars. It has been intense, but I think that has been quite interesting to see different perspectives, different ideas, and working together for a better language education for all. So thank you very much, and please let's keep in touch. Don't forget to join us as you know, in our social media, in the YouTube channel, in the website, and we'll be more than happy to to see you soon. Okay, so thank you very much, and take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.